For over 5,000 years, the land we now call China has nurtured one of the most enduring and influential civilizations in human history. This is the story of a people shaped by rivers, ruled by dynasties, and guided by philosophies that would ripple through the ages. It all began near the banks of a yellow river, called Huanghe, a place often referred to as the cradle of Chinese civilization. Around 2100 BCE, the legendary Xia dynasty is said to have emerged. Though its existence remains debated, Chinese tradition regards it as the first dynasty. More tangible, however, was the Shang dynasty, which ruled from around 1600 BCE. With the Shang came early forms of Chinese writing, etched into oracle bones used for divination. They worshipped powerful ancestors, believed in spirits, and forged bronze with remarkable skill. Around 1046 BCE, the Zhou overthrew the Shang and introduced a radical concept that would define Chinese governance for millennia: the mandate of heaven. This divine right granted legitimacy to a ruler, but could also be withdrawn if a dynasty became corrupt or tyrannical. The Zhou period also birthed China's philosophical foundations. In a time of chaos and competing states known as the Warring States period, great minds emerged. Confucius taught harmony through relationships and duty. His philosophy emphasized respect between ruler and subject, parent and child, husband and wife. Laozi, on the other hand, urged followers to seek balance with nature through the way, or Tao. Taoism embraced simplicity, spontaneity, and spiritual harmony. Meanwhile, legalism took a harder path, order through strict laws and harsh punishments. It would soon dominate China's first imperial dynasty. In 221 BCE, after centuries of warfare, a state named Qin unified China under its first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Ruthless yet visionary, he standardized currency, script, and weights, laying the foundation for a unified Chinese state. But he also burned books, buried scholars, and ruled through fear. His most enduring legacy? The Terracotta Army and the first version of the Great Wall. Qin's rule collapsed shortly after his death, yet the idea of a united China endured. From 206 BCE to 220 CE, the Han Dynasty ushered in a golden age. Confucianism became the state ideology, civil service exams ensured merit-based bureaucracy, and technological innovation flourished. The Chinese invented paper, improved iron casting, and expanded trade across the legendary Silk Road, connecting China to Persia, India, and the Roman Empire. The Han were not just administrators and traders. They were storytellers and scientists, astronomers and engineers. Their legacy would shape East Asia for centuries. But dynasties rise and fall. In the next chapter, we follow the tides of war, invasion, innovation, and the epic endurance of Chinese civilization. After centuries of turmoil, China would once again rise, adapt, and flourish. From the reunification under the Sui to the height of culture in the Tang and the struggles of the Qing, Chinese civilization would prove its resilience time and again. The Sui dynasty, 581 to 618 CE, reunified China, rebuilt institutions, and began massive projects like the Grand Canal, linking north and south. Though short-lived, they paved the way for the glorious Tang dynasty. The Tang era, 618 to 907 CE, is remembered as one of China's cultural peaks. Cosmopolitan cities, flourishing trade, and poetic genius defined the period. Buddhism reached its zenith, blending with native beliefs. Yet with glory came rebellion. The Enlushan Rebellion shook the empire, and by 907, the Tang fell. The Song dynasty, 960 to 1279 CE, brought an age of intellectual brilliance. China saw the invention of movable type printing, gunpowder weapons, and the compass, tools that would later change the world. Their economy boomed, markets bustled with goods, and education was widespread. Yet the military remained weak. Eventually, the northern Jin and later the Mongols conquered large swaths of Chinese territory. In 1271, Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, founded the Yuan dynasty. For the first time, China was ruled by foreigners. Under Mongol rule, trade flourished, and China became part of a vast Eurasian empire. Yet resentment simmered. Despite the multicultural court and global outreach, the Yuan struggled with internal unrest. By 1368, a peasant rebellion ousted them. The Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644, brought restoration. Han Chinese ruled again. The capital moved to Beijing, and the majestic Forbidden City was built. Under Admiral Zheng He, China launched massive naval expeditions, reaching as far as East Africa. These voyages showcased China's power, but were soon halted. The Ming focused inward, strengthening the Great Wall and rebuilding the economy. Yet natural disasters, corruption, and rebellion brought their decline. In 1644, the Manchus established the Qing dynasty. They preserved much of Chinese culture while expanding the empire to its greatest territorial extent. The Kangxi and Qianlong emperors brought stability, but isolationism and resistance to change made the empire vulnerable. As Europe industrialized, China struggled. The Opium Wars, Taiping Rebellion, and foreign invasions marked the Qing's slow decay. By 1912, Imperial China was no more. But the story of Chinese civilization didn't end with the fall of emperors. Its philosophy, innovations, and art continued to shape the modern world. Through the rise and fall of dynasties, through invasion, invention, and rebirth, China endures. An ancient soul reborn in a modern world. This is the legacy of Chinese civilization.